finally summer. Welcome to the July tarot reading for inner healing. Let's dive in. So as always, I have picked the cards, but this time I picked them at home and then brought them to the park. And they are pretty interesting. Let's see what they have. So for the first card, what is the energy you're coming into this month of July with? We got the Hierophant. And the Hierophant is all about conforming and trying to kind of fit in, and maybe it's also about feeling the need or maybe the pressure to fit in. And what I'm getting is that you're coming into this month maybe having felt that pressure. It's not necessarily pressure from other people. It could also be pressure from yourself to try to fit in or to conform, or maybe even to conform to a way of being that you wish you were. And I know that this one's really speaking to me today, because in this last month, I feel like I've been kind of criticizing myself or judging myself for being a certain way. Like, for example, I know that eventually and ideally, I would love to have, be more in community and connection, as I hear and read about it, that, that it really makes a lot of the meaning of life. But right now, I feel like sometimes when I'm with people, I just need a lot more space. But then I feel like I'm judging myself. I'm judging myself and saying, well, why do I need so much space? And why can't I be with people and feel connection? Or the other one recently is just, I feel like I have to put boundaries up a lot these days and say no to things, or maybe, not overgive. And then I wonder, well, why not? Why can't I just be more helpful or there for people, or go and see people when they want, when they ask me? But right now I'm more in a lesson of saying no. But I've been judging myself. And I think that the lesson here, or the energy we're coming into the month of July with, is that I think we're trying to fit into something that we're not anymore. And if we could just release that, it would be a lot easier. So what is the soul lesson this month? We got the Father of Cups. And this is hilarious because I just did a reading with Marie that you can find on my channel. And basically this card came up actually also for the July reading. And it's just so funny when these cards come up, because it definitely means that the energy is there. And it's like, they call them stalker cards. And I always love that expression. So what is the soul lesson? The soul lesson is the Father of Cups. And who is the Father of Cups? Father of Cups is somebody who is super wise and knows how to kind of feel things fully, but then not get overwhelmed or not get kind of overrun by his emotions. And so to me, the soul lesson this month is about learning that balance. And we hear it all the time. We hear, you need to learn how to feel your feelings, whether it be anger, sadness, frustration. You got to feel them. And then on the other hand, we also hear, yes, but you also need to not wallow or not think about these things and lean into the positive. And to me, this is the perfect balance. This person, the person that we're trying to embody and become this month, is somebody who knows how to feel the feelings, but then not, fuel the story, not make it part of the identity, or rerun the story over and over again. I've actually heard somewhere that a real feeling only lasts about 60 seconds in the body. It goes through, whether it be sadness, whether it be anger, whether it be frustration, whether it be any of those kind of hard emotions that we kind of wish we weren't feeling. Well, they only last in the body 60 seconds. But then what happens is we overrun the story and we say it over and over, and we, either repeat the feeling, or we kind of go back into that thing, or we kind of then add on to the story by, making it worse. And that's when it feels like it doesn't last more than, it lasts a lot longer than 60 seconds. And it really does, because that's what we keep, repeating. And so this month, it's about being able to feel our feelings, but then not be overrun by them, not be overwhelmed, and then not add or fuel the story. So that's really interesting. I also love these two birds. I love the fact that they're both these black birds, but they're quite different. And this one, the Hierophant's actually looking left, which means it's looking to the past. And the Father of Cups is looking to the right, which means that it's looking to basically the future. And so I love that, because I just feel like we're moving away maybe from, again, judging ourselves, trying to fit in, trying to force ourselves to fit in. And instead, we're going to this place where we'll feel it. We might even feel that feeling of wanting so bad to be something else, and then observing it and then letting it go. So what are the weaknesses to look out for this month? We got the Ten of Swords. And the Ten of Swords is a card that talks about feeling as if you're stabbed in the back and kind of like betrayed. You're in a heap. You're kind of like, a little bit in self-pity. And I love it because it's kind of like going back to this thing, which is that it's so easy sometimes when we have these strong emotions and these feelings that come up to actually then kind of lean into this. And so the weakness is to be careful not to lean into these really hard stories or to add on to it or to just completely let yourself wallow in a heap and think, poor me. I think the weakness is, and of course, it's so natural for us to want to go there because sometimes life is hard and sometimes these emotions that we end up starting to feel are so heavy that it just like it's almost like it drags us down there. And it's funny because it's almost like the rain in this card is going there. I get it. Sometimes those feelings just drag us down, but that's the weakness to watch out for and to then really make an effort to think about the feelings that you're having and to acknowledge them, to let them be, but then also not to like let yourself get dragged down to that place. And then I think it's really echoed with what are your strengths this month? Well, we got the 9 of Cups, which is such an opposite card from this one, the weakness. And what is the 9 of Cups? The 9 of Cups is a card that speaks of gratitude and contentment. And of course, when we're having those heavy emotions, sometimes it's harder to go there. But I think that the strength that you have this month is that you are able to go there, and that maybe you have been practicing gratitude on a small scale. Maybe you have a gratitude journal, or maybe you've just been noticing things more and more in your life just on a regular basis, and you've been doing the work. And so I think that your strength is that those practices are starting to actually become more natural, and they're starting to actually be easier for you to find the gratitude and to start, again, looking in that direction. It's not about repressing or toxic positivity, but it is about having the emotion, feeling it, and then being careful not to get sucked into this and instead point your attention to something that is going well. I know personally, gratitude to me is one of those things in my spiritual toolbox that I think has been the most important and has had the most impact in my life, because it's by doing it regularly. And because I've noticed that over the couple years that I've been doing it, now it's becoming easier. It's like a habit instead of something that I had to force myself to do. And I catch myself every once in a while having these moments of complete bliss because I am just in the moment. And it's thanks to doing the gratitude. So if you do not practice gratitude on a regular basis, I really highly suggest this. And it could be a strength, because the more you do it, the more it becomes a habit and the easier it becomes. And then it just becomes this natural thing, and you start having what they call glimmers, which is instead of triggers in your day, you start having glimmers. And they're all the moments that bring you these beautiful little moments of joy and happiness for no other reason. And I find myself sometimes like nothing has changed in my life, and all of a sudden I'll just have like a really amazing day. And I really think it's linked to practicing gratitude. I also love this card because it's called the Wish card. And I also think so one of the other strengths in this month for you is that you still have that capacity to wish and to hope and to dream. And I think that that's a really important thing, especially right now with everything that's going on in the world, is to lean into that. That is definitely a strength right now, is to keep hoping, dreaming, and trusting that the wish can come true, trusting that the things can change also sometimes in a miraculous way, in a way that you would not even be able to make it on your own. That is what a wish is, right? A wish is something that almost is impossible or seems miraculous, but then happens. So the last card, what is a message of love from your higher self? We got the 6 of Pentacles. And I love getting this card here because to me, the 6 of Pentacles, the 6 of Pentacles is about giving and receiving and finding balance there. And what I'm getting here is that in a way, I think, again, it's about finding that balance between these emotions, and also in a way finding balance between, being pulled towards this negative part and how easy that can be when we go through something negative or hard, but finding the balance to pull yourself back over here more, because this is like where it's easy to get pulled in, and this is more like the muscle that you have to kind of build to get there. But what I'm also getting here is the giving and receiving as a part of the solution, because as I mentioned at the beginning, I sometimes judge myself right now, especially where I am, maybe on my spiritual journey, for not being where I should be, or I wish I were someplace else, or I wish I was, let's say, not having to learn the boundary lesson right now and being able to be more maybe available to people, or But I also think it comes maybe from giving and receiving, and that maybe in the past I've overgiven, and that's why right now I have this other part. And I'm sure in your situation too, maybe it's by finding the balance that you'll be able to maybe, you know, fix whatever you felt you were not fitting in with, let's say. Because sometimes when we don't fit in, or we're trying so hard to fit in, it's because something is unbalanced. And so I think the message of love here is to remember that when things are balanced, and when the giving and the receiving, and the receiving I know is one of the things that most people have challenges with, when you learn to receive and you learn also to receive from yourself, if you're needing the time to be by yourself, or you're needing the boundaries, then you need to also give that to yourself and receive it from yourself without judging. So, on that, I'm wishing you a wonderful month of July. I'm sending you so much love and so much laughter, and I'll see you next video. Thanks so much for watching.